welcome back to House of the Dragon. Last episode was utterly fantastic. I'm very excited for this one. Well, I don't know where this is, but I'm going to go ahead and guess the Riverlands since we've been talking about it so much, and it sure looks like it.
It's Brackenland.
He looks a little scared.
What?
Oh, let's all just calm down.
You wouldn't dare.
He might. What lovely imagery. I kind of like that we flipped it here as well, because in the first season it was the Brackens who were being kind of like the bully-ish aggressors, and it was the Blackwoods on the back foot. Now it was kind of the opposite.
Soon they will not even remember what it was that began the war in the first place.
That is easy enough. They usurped my throne.
That is one answer.
It's a little more complicated than that.
What she did is not her, but the men around her who seek bloodshed.
She permitted it.
Somewhat.
As you permitted the murder of a little boy in his bed.
She kind of got you there. She kind of got you there. If only they would talk to each other. Might not fix anything, but it might, you know? I love that he has the chain of hands around his armor there, because that's more in line with what the books have in mind. It's not really a pin, it's supposed to be like a chain of hands all holding each other. Back to work, fellas. He put those idiots in his Kingsguard? No, Aegon. Oh, Aegon.
And an excuse for them to indulge their ancient grudge. It's no true war.
Somewhat true.
Call it what you will. I call it war.
As one. The great military mind of the Citadel.
This council must rediscover the discipline it lately had if it's to be of any use.
The Riverland.
Honestly, thank you, Allison.
Bold scheme indeed.
Well, the gods favour the bold.
They did not favour Sir Eric.
That's true.
What say you, my king?
I'm as fearsome as any of them.
Everyone's like, sure you are, buddy. Which dragon is that? Is that Moondancer?
You wish to be rewarded.
As I would think, you would wish to reward me.
It's only fair.
A place at your court.
Deal.
Are they always like this?
Sea smoke.
Oh, it's sea smoke.
Dragon. Has grown restless of late.
I think that means Laenor's dead. Dragons and their riders
Rhaena.
have a strong connection.
Write to Prince Reggio. If he will have you, then go to him. I'm sorry to put this upon you. It breaks my heart to send my boys away. I need you to be the mother to them that I cannot.
I see the sense in it, but that is a little cruel.
Guard them as a dragon guards her eggs.
Ooh, Rhaena is not happy with you. I wouldn't be either. But at the same time, you have to value your military might above a lot of other things. It is a time of war. Here we go. He's made it to Harrenhal. Never seen Harrenhal from these kinds of angles before. It looks very cool. Such a weird, cool looking dragon. Who would ever want to rule this castle? This place is cursed, destroyed. Nothing good ever happens here. The place where your brother was crowned king. Well, that was no challenge.
I'm claiming Harrenhal.
Apparently so.
He said, yeah, I guess you are. I'm not gonna fight you.
I swear this by the old gods and the new.
Ooh, is that who I think it is?
Supper is finished.
I bet Damon's a little disappointed. He's probably like, come on, man, I wanted a good fight.
So no, you will find no loyalty to Larys Strong here, my prince.
Your grace.
Even if we possess the coin, my prince.
He's like, say it again, I will fuck you up.
And a dragon will sharpen minds round these parts.
It very well might.
Your grace.
We march on King's Landing and take the throne.
The throne?
It's a big chair made of swords.
Nice haircut. I still hate you.
Find my lord father. who served 3 kings faithfully, unseated as hand of the king. And by a man from such modest beginnings.
Be careful what you say.
A scent the gods have bestowed on you.
Alright. I mean, any disrespect to Kristen Cole, I will take. I'll take it.
Good night.
Your Grace.
Yeah, I don't think she's feeling you all that much right now, man. And again, as much as I like seeing you kind of shit on Kristen Cole, didn't you also get your ass kicked by Daemon the last time you were here in King's Landing? I love this music. This is great.
Send them all out. Start turning green strongholds to our cause.
Fear of it is in itself a weapon. The Greens will make the same calculation.
I do fear you're being a bit too lax, Rhaenyra.
Think about secreting yourself somewhere safe, while we remain here as a source of distraction.
No, absolutely not. Absolutely not.
To conduct the war in my absence.
This council would do well to remember that their queen wears the crown of my grandsire, the wisest of Targaryen kings whose reign outlasted every other.
So sit the fuck down, shut up, and do as you're told. Thank you. I do worry that she's being a bit too lax, though. I am moderately worried. They're so cute.
It is well that I am a good sailor.
You say that, but you nearly died not that long ago.
And here, I think, is some consolation.
Oh.
Tyra, these eggs are even more fragile.
Your Grace.
That is a pretty important task to take those eggs. Oh. And it's not the worst idea. Get them out of harm's way.
I feel sad about Jaehaerys. But I ought not to, I think. People die all the time.
You should definitely feel sad over the loss of your son.
Surely they lose their babes more than highborn ladies.
You make a good point.
You have as much claim to grief as anyone.
That you do.
I said that I forgive you.
For what? Being like a shitty mother, or...?
Only that I think it would benefit all of us to prevent our king from being brutally slain by our enemies and his body parts scattered to beasts and his court come to ruin. Would you not agree? Another is that his grace was outwitted by his councillors and persuaded to fly to war with Sir Criston, so the Queen Alicent may reign in his absence.
Not a bad plan to get him to stay.
I should be glad of your talents.
He played that well, though.
Shall we escort you to the
like,
dragon?
oh yeah, they'll think you a weak little bitch if you go off to war, actually, because now it's your mom who's going to be ruling. They're really taking their time to focus on, like, the small folk in this season, which I do actually like a lot. Oh, that's Diana. That's so sad, dude.
You man of dawn?
Fucking Aegon.
I'm the son of Balon the Brave.
Truth right enough. Look, you can tell by his hair.
Yeah, he's on their half-brother, you fuckwits.
Oh? Are we allowed to see that on television? Oh, shit.
Hard luck for your squire, though.
Even now, he still likes picking on you.
He's now very much...
Kind of digging the equality and nudity we have in this episode. Read what she wrote you, Rhaenyra. It's not gonna change anything, but you might as well see what she has to say.
We're exposed.
What? Cole?
Oh, dear. Wow, her dragon's really pretty. Go get him, Bela. Do it. No, nothing like this ever happened in the books, because Bela was not really part of the fighting. Oh, shit. Some sweet moves right there. I'll get you next time, Krispy Kreme.
You said not to engage, so I didn't. Exactly.
You got pretty damn close.
Loose the dragon's root coal out and burn him.
I actually concur. Like, I really think you gotta go for it, Rhaenyra. Think on it just a little bit, but don't take too much time, Rhaenyra. You need to get a foothold in this. Oh, wait, I know who it was. Wait, did they bring her back? I believe he's having like a vision right now.
Always coming and going, aren't you?
Oh, I'm so happy they brought her back. Ooh. Ooh, oh my god. That imagery is really, really awful. That's right, Damon. You're dealing with something you've never dealt with before. A witch. I really love that they've kind of made it canon that she is for sure a witch with some sort of powers. Because in the book, it's very ambiguous. Like, maybe she does.
You will die in this place.
Seems like she does.
I would speak with her myself.
Really?
Killing her would be easier.
I must see her face to face.
Don't know how you could do that.
She's the Queen Dowager.
Is she actually gonna do it? Okay, this is also another fairly big change. Poses a scepter. Not the worst idea, but also this is unbearably dangerous. Like, this is borderline stupid of you to do this. This isn't even borderline stupid. Like, this is stupid. You should not be doing this. Better hope you don't run into anyone else but her. Did not expect them to have another meeting. And here, of all places, where they shared quite a tender moment so long ago.
No. What? Turn up before I killed you. And then what?
Not the best start.
Oh, I've begun badly.
Yes, you have definitely begun badly.
So you've come to surrender then?
No. Let's not get ahead of ourselves here.
See if we may uncover some path towards peace.
I repudiate that act with all my heart.
Of course you do. I'm usurping my rightful inheritance.
This is not going very well.
When was your plan first laid? Was your ambition so keen?
He changed his mind, Rhaenyra. He changed his mind.
Say what he said. Say what he said. Oh, Rhaenyra. It's not what he wanted. It's not what he said.
He said he
I mean,
was
he
the
did
prince
say
that was
that, but...
promised to unite the realm.
Oh.
Did he? Yes, he did.
You see, it's all just been this big old misunderstanding.
Spoke to you of the Song of Ice and Fire. A terrible war is looming.
It's too
and
late,
even victory may
Rhaenyra.
be so bloody as to be counted a loss. Do not let your pride blind you.
There's been no mistake. God is on the march, Aemon. You know what Aemon is?
Yeah. I mean, all that did was make you both feel incredibly guilty about everything else that's going to come from this. Because Alicent is right. It's too late. Oh, shit. Alright. Another great episode. Much to discuss in this one as well. Well, I did not like this episode as much as the previous one, because that was like a work of art. This was still very, very good, but it did have several moments in it that, to me, didn't seem to make as much sense as they should have. The biggest one being Rhaenyra going to see Alicent in King's Landing. Even though I'm really glad they did get to have a scene together again, and that conversation was like sorely needed for the both of them. That is just such a risky, stupid move of Rhaenyra to go in person to the capital where, if she is found out, she will be killed. I mean, Alicent very nearly gives her away. And yeah, she started it off rather badly by being like, you can scream, but I'll kill you first. Like, girl, are you not trying to make peace here? What are you doing? That being said, I did really enjoy the conversation because, again, that's the big thing. Ever since that misunderstanding with Alicent and Viserys occurred, the audience has just kind of been begging for the two of them to be sat in a room together so this can be explained. But as Alicent said, it's too late. It is too late. Like, forces are already out. We've already experienced losses on both sides. There's no stopping this, even if we both want it to. We each only have so much power, even though we are some of the most powerful people in the entire continent. There's too many other people involved at this point. Like, the war is inevitable. It has already begun, as evidenced by the opening scene of the, Battle of the Burning Mill. The Brackens and the Blackwoods have been just waiting for a chance to go at each other for real again. Kristen Cole and Aegon, they're just dying for a chance to get out there and exert some force and win this war. The other people on Rhaenyra's council are dying for Rhaenyra to jump in there with her dragons and start fucking shit up. It's too late. The conversation, as nice as it was, it's too late. So again, as much as I enjoyed the scene and the conversation, that was a real dumb move on her part to do that. And as much as she is trying to avoid war, and that's been a major quality of her character up to this point, I almost don't buy that she would put herself in such a dangerous position like that. And they've now done it twice in this season, with Daemon and her going to King's Landing in order to, execute some kind of mission. And I'm like, guys, you gotta stop doing this. You just sent your children away because you're worried about their safety, and then you go and do that? Like, not a good idea. Aegon throughout most of the episode was just a major twit, which is not out of character. I'm not saying that that's bad writing or anything. In fact, I really enjoyed the moment where Larys kind of convinces him to not ride out into battle by saying, oh, well, that means your mom's in charge while you're gone. Like, what a petty little thing to be worried about or say in order to get him to not go out to do this, but it worked so well. Some of my favorite parts about the episode were probably everything going on with Daemon at Harrenhal. Mostly because we finally get to see Alice Rivers, which I am so happy about. That is another character I kind of assumed they would just cut from the show because there's already so many characters and so much going on. But she's such a cool character. Like, she's this secretive, strange person who some people suspect of witchcraft, and clearly, as evidenced by the show, she does seem to have some sort of powers. Really, really loved all that. And I don't remember Daemon going into this completely by himself, but I'm enjoying his paranoia at going in to take the castle. It's no challenge at all, so now he's like, okay, so they're gonna poison me, someone's gonna send an assassin, I have no one to back me up, this is just kind of a shitty situation for me. And yet he's won. Like, he has succeeded in taking the castle, and Larys's uncle? I think it's Larys's uncle who's currently in charge of the castle, or was. He seems pretty down with Aemon. He's like, Larys sucks, dude. You want to take the castle? It's yours. You want my help rebuilding it? Done. You want some food? Have at it. Like, he seems like a pretty chill dude. And it's also nice to see Harrenhal featured so much. Harrenhal is one of those castles that's described in the Game of Thrones books in such an interesting way. Like, it's such a haunted, broken place. I've always wanted to see it in all its glory. And thus far, we have not gotten to really see it very much until now. And it's really nice to see how they brought it to life. I think they've done a great job showing how in disrepair the whole place is. They definitely got the vibe right. As much as it was nice seeing Kristen kind of just get shit on by someone else, Gwaine is such a pompous dumbass. And even though it's not an adaptation directly from the book, I did really enjoy the scene of him, trying to go out to find an inn for a night of comfort, and then Bela comes riding down like, well, I'm gonna fuck you guys up. Like, that was a fun little scene. Again, moderately stupid of her to get that close. I mean, if any of them had any crossbows or anything on them and fired a shot, she was in a pretty risky position there. But hey, you gotta feel like you have a lot of confidence when you got a dragon. And just as a side note, before I get into the technicals, again, I really like the focus on the small folk. I think every episode thus far has had at least one major scene where we really get to see their perspective on things. Like in this case, we get this idiot saying, oh, I'm a Targaryen, actually. I'm a half Targaryen. Aren't I cool? And then, nearly gets his tongue ripped out once the king almost overhears this. it's just nice to see a focus on it, because the small folk do have a fairly large role to play in the story. Maybe not in the way some people might expect, but later on down the line, their opinions of royalty and where they're at as a people is gonna be pretty damn important. I mean, I suppose you could argue it's very important right now. That's what ruling is. You need to make sure that the people you're ruling over like you at least a little bit. But anyways, let's jump into the technicals. Writing of this episode was not my favorite. There were some really strong scenes, but again, I think Rhaenyra going to King's Landing was so unbearably risky and stupid of her to do. And it's also a little frustrating seeing her still this far into it saying like, I think we should wait. I don't think we should make a move just yet. It's like, come on, dude. I am with your counsel at this point. Like, you gotta make a move. Whatever it is, do it. You're falling into the same problem that Viserys had, like, really badly. And I don't necessarily count that last bit as being bad writing, but her going to King's Landing, to me, was a change that I think they should not have done. And while I commended the former episode for having really good pacing by going very slowly and methodically through things, I think this one maybe just took it a little bit too far. It was just a little too slow paced for me. Not unbearably so or anything, but I think they could have sped it up just a teeny little bit. The acting in this episode was very good. The cast on this show is just incredible. Like, they really bring their characters to light in such a convincing way. But there weren't nearly as many standout performances as there were in the former episode. It was really great to see Millie Alcock again, even if it was just for like a quick little scene, and a really disturbing one at that. But I'm glad they managed to bring her back for the second season, even if it's just for a second, you know? The standout performers for me are probably going to be Olivia Cook and Emma Darcy there at the very end. Even though that scene I don't think should have happened, their performances were fantastic in that scene. Like, you can feel the love that they once had for one another, but it's still just so tainted by everything that's happened in like the last 16 years, and more specifically by what's happened in the last couple months. But there's no joy in Alicent having to tell Rhaenyra, like, it's too late, we're already at war, I'm sorry. And yet they still both feel very bitter feelings towards one another at the same time. Like, there's a lot of nuance to their performance in that scene, and I really enjoyed it. Cinematography in this episode was absolutely outstanding. There are some shots that I was really blown away by, particularly the moments in Harrenhal where Daemon is walking through the empty corridors, the storm is raging outside. You got some really nice wide shots in there that just looked incredibly artistic. And they've done such a good job with the dragon riding moments. They make it feel like a car chase almost, and I really appreciate some of the angles that they'll choose for a lot of the dragon riding moments on this show. And in this episode, I was not disappointed with the Bela chase scene. Editing in this episode was very good, but again, I feel like a lot of the pacing issues also fall on the editing. There are some scenes where I feel like they're just taking a little bit too much time on certain moments where I'm like, come on, let's get to it. But at the same time, there are other scenes where they kind of make up for it and do some really smart editing choices. I really enjoyed the opening scene where you don't actually see any major fight scene happen between the Brackens and the Blackwoods. You just go from this one guy being called Craven to him with a sword sticking through his neck. Like, it was a very nice jump cut right there. Costumes and makeup continue to astound me with how good they are. Again, there's still some room for improvement, specifically on the wigs, but they have improved pretty dramatically from the first season, I would say. Rhaena's wig still doesn't look great, but it's not awful. It's not awful. And the costumes are just so good. Like, Aegon the Conqueror's armor, that looks sick. Also knowing that it's made out of Valyrian steel, very cool. And of course there's Daemon's armor as well, which is probably the coolest armor I've seen on screen in a long time. It is just so badass. I absolutely love it. Set design, again, is absolutely fantastic. Most of the sets we saw here are places we've already been, and I liked them then, I still like them now. But I specifically liked seeing more of Harrenhal. The sets they made for that looked fantastic. Obviously there was a lot of CGI used in those scenes, but it's clear that there were still fairly large sets that they built for it as well. And I really liked that dining hall that they were in. It just had this ominous, very old kind of feeling to it. The like beautiful pattern on the table that you saw from the overhead shot, like it looked really good. And finally, sound design, which again has astounded me with how good it is. Highlight of the episode was probably when green forces are moving out of King's Landing, and it's just this really epic score of all these soldiers heading out to battle for, you know, the first time in this war that's now beginning. I did not expect it to be as good as it was. I was like, oh wait, this is kind of a bop. Like, hold on. And as usual, they hit all the right moments for every other situation. The creepy, very mysterious kind of sound to when Daemon is having his vision. The lack of music during certain very tense moments, like when Rhaenyra and Alicent are meeting, there's a lot of that scene where there is no score playing at all. I mean, post-production in general on this show seems to be like they cannot fail. Like, they just do a really fantastic job with pretty much everything post-production. And that gives this episode an 8.7 out of 10. Again, I still very much enjoyed it, but I did have more criticisms on this one for sure than in the former one. A lot of the production work on the show continues to be some of the best I've ever seen, like beating out a lot of movies that I've seen, which is very impressive. But I did find the writing and editing in this episode to be a little lacking compared to the former episode. And even compared to the first episode of the season. But regardless, I'm still enjoying this tremendously. I cannot wait for the next episode. I've heard rumors that the next episode is going to be a certain battle that takes place, which, you know, prepare the tissues is all I have to say about that. But that's it from me. Can't wait to see you all in the next one, and that's about it.